Radio अपना Frankfurt दिल से कहता है. Hello everyone, I'm Raman from Apna Frankfurt and I'm once again back to have a discussion on a very important topic once again. And this time, it's about international students for higher studies in Germany. For this, today we are going to talk to two of my special guests, Charu Sharma and Akash Chowatia. Welcome Charu and Akash. We are pleased to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Raman.
Thank
We're
you for
glad.
having us.
Charu, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Charu Sharma. I am actually a part of the students' organization here. I came as a student to Frankfurt and have been living here since 2016. Spent a major time of this period as a student, and then I started working with a software company in Frankfurt after my graduation. So I'm really glad to be here to provide my insights and experience of coming here as a student and then transitioning into a full-time professional role.
Thank you. Thank you, Charu, for that introduction. And I'm really happy to have you with me on this talk today. With that, Akash, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Uh, Myself, Akash Chowatia, and I'm currently doing my master's here in Frankfurt University of Applied Sciences and also working part-time in a IT company. So I hope that answers that we provide here will help you somehow during your transition period in Germany.
Yeah. And I mean, your experience is definitely going to help a lot of our audience at Upna Frankfurt who are either already here or are looking forward to come to Germany for their higher studies. Yeah. So again, thank you very much for taking out the time today. And let me start with my first question to both of you. Higher studies in Germany. I understand that you both decided while being in India to come to Germany and take up the post graduation course here. Well, my question is why Germany? What factors made you decide for Germany as a destination for your higher studies? Charu, I will invite you to first give your thoughts on this.
Well, back then when I was deciding where I should pursue my master's degree, I was thinking of a lot of options, including USA, UK, and Germany as well. There were two things that were of the most significance to me. Firstly was, of course, the cost of education. In USA, I had to bear a very huge, significant cost of education, which was not the case in Germany. So I studied in a public university and I had a very nominal fee structure. The second most important part was for me the the part that comes after you graduate. So I wanted a smoother transition from my educational time period to into a professional life. So for me, Germany was very lucrative because we have 18 months of job seeker visa here. Um, we get ample time enabled for securing a full-time position. And there were also a lot of exploring opportunities like fellowships or internships opportunities very actively promoted in Germany. So for me, this was a very clear choice.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And when, yeah, cost of education, your smoother transition, and fellowship and internship opportunities, right? I mean, these are really factors on which people should basically think of when they are looking for a destination. But maybe Akash, you would like to add something more to this list?
Yeah, definitely. For choosing Germany, the best uh, benefit would be the cost estimation because even during my bachelor study, I decided to go abroad for doing masters. Then I chose several of countries, but among them, the Germany has the best cost effects, and along with it comes with the Schengen visa, so you can travel around the Europe and you get to visit so many countries and so many cultures. That is also a significant point. And as Charu mentioned, job opportunities and working structure is also quite good here in Germany. So that was the main points that I considered for my studies in Germany.
Oh, right. And I mean, Also, when we normally hear from India, when somebody is considering for higher studies, just I think US, Australia, UK, these are the destinations that normally pop up. But I think very important factors here about cost of education, the effectiveness of cost here. This 18 months job seeker visa, what you mentioned, Charu, is really attractive after that as well. Fellowship and internship opportunities that are there, and definitely the Schengen visa aspect, right? I mean, you get to
Yeah.
visit many favorite destinations in Europe while being a student here as well. So definitely all this adds up, and thank you. Thank you for sharing all these factors with me. With that, let me move to my next question. So what process did you follow to get your student visa for Germany? I mean, what were the prerequisites for that? And how was your experience? Akash, maybe let's start with you this time.
Yeah. So for getting the visa, you need to have a admission letter from your university. So I would say that the first step should be the admission process. So you need to shortlist, you need to find some university pool and you have to shortlist the university. And after you get admission letter from the university, then you can apply for the visa. And based on your admission letter, the embassy will provide you the visa. And I would say the visa process is quite easy if you have all the documents ready with you. And recently, even Germany introduced APS system, which is kind of a way to verify all the documents beforehand. So the embassy does not need to go through the scrutiny of the documents. So it has become quite faster. But again, the finding the appointment at the embassy for the visa, it's quite difficult now. So I would suggest that if you think that as soon as you get your visa, or even little early, you can book an appointment. If you think that in next month I'll get my admission letter, then you should start looking for an appointment booking, because it's quite hectic, and this is the most important point. As soon as you get your appointment, then everything will be very smoother, and the processing time is also quite good for India, so it's quite easy.
Okay. And I mean, the list of required documents, I guess people can find it on the websites of the embassy or websites of the consulate, what they need to prepare for application, right, Akash?
Yes. So it's basically similar to whatever document you provided for your admission, and additional would be the admission letter and the travel insurance.
Okay. And I mean, yeah, with now latest changes, as you mentioned, the visa process has become easy. So only factor that people should definitely keep in their mind is the lead time to get an appointment for the visa application, right? So
Yeah.
important factor there. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it. Charu, would you like to add something?
Yes, I would like to underline on what Akash said, as well as provide structure a little bit there. So, um, how do you get the lead time? I know that when people are applying for universities, there's a time period until a deadline. And the later you apply, the later your application is evaluated by the universities, and you get the admission letter later on in time. Actually, that was the case for myself. So I got my admission letter quite late, and for me, it was a very tight ship to run in order to be able to be here on my joining date. So my advice firstly would be to do not wait till the deadline. Already start applying early, and as soon as you apply your application is, well, let's so to say, on the top of the stack, and it gets evaluated early, and there is more chances that you would get your admission letter earlier as compared to when you apply very close to the deadline. And this lead allows you, of course, as Akash mentioned, so the process has become relatively easy. The only challenge or the bottleneck still stands at the getting the appointment itself at the embassy. So when you get the admission letter early, you still have a lot of time to get a um, appointment at the embassy, with sufficient breathing time. And in this breathing time, what is important is, firstly, as Akash mentioned, of course, to get a travel health insurance. And the second thing is that you need to have a blocked account. This is a mandatory requirement that you need to meet to apply for this visa. And there are many sources where the students can do that. They can go for, there are different, how you say, finance agencies that offer these facilities. So you can set up your block account, get your APS evaluated, and then go for the your appointment at the embassy. So the earlier you get in through this process, the better chances that you have of going smoothly till the visa is obtained by you.
Yeah. Thank you. I think the timing part is one of the most important part that anybody who is now thinking into that direction should keep in mind,
Mhm.
because definitely the lead time that you need for this, don't get under that pressure. As you mentioned, have the lead time in your hand so that things can flow smoothly. So thank you, Charu, for sharing that with us as well. Now, I mean, we talked about the admission letter a couple of times.
Mhm.
And before anybody gets that admission letter, there is an important factor to understand which institute, right? So, I mean, there are many institutes in Germany where multiple courses are offered. So, how did you select the right institute for you? And how was the application process? Is there any highlight that you would like to share with us? Charu, maybe we start with you.
Yes, so this is a very personal choice, to be very honest, which university. So if you have no constraint over the cost factor, then you can go from selecting between public universities and private universities. So you have a bigger corpus of universities to select from. If you're only thinking about public universities, the criteria is really difficult. There are a lot of more people applying to it, and it's challenging. Um, the other thing is that you really need to focus upon the course that you are doing, the modules that you would be learning in, and are you interested or not interested in going through that part of your education? Because here, education is built in such a structure that they target on providing you skills that you would need in your job. If you're doing something, if you're learning something that you're really not interested in it, then it's not going to help so long term. You need to see which prerequisite for the course that you meet and whether or not it aligns with your own interest in studies and skills.
Right. So, I mean, if I summarize it, public and private universities are kind of two factors that people should definitely consider, also considering the cost side attached to it. And my understanding is that the public factor is a little bit more easy going on the cost factor, that people can consider it that way. And then, of course, that also means there are more applications coming in. There is more challenge in that sense, and we people have to consider it accordingly while they're deciding for it. And then also which modules you want, what are your aspirations, and then we go into that direction accordingly. With that, I move to Akash. Akash, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, so Charu mentioned the university itself matters, but from my point of view, I would also say that location also matters. So if you can choose university based on the location, because if you are accustomed to certain lifestyle, then the location also matters, whether it is in city or town, and it also helps with the job opportunity, because in bigger cities there will be plenty of opportunities for the job. Even during your study, you can work part time in the uh, you have a wide range of job opportunities there as well. And main is the curriculum of the courses, because as Charu mentioned, it is very important that whatever course you choose, you are willing to do it. You are doing you wanted to do it wholeheartedly, because if you are fell through somewhere in between, then it would be waste of time for you. So it is quite important that you go through the curriculum. You think that these are the subjects that I wanted to study. This is the structure I wanted to follow, because in Germany, mainly for masters, there are three kind of courses. In some courses, you have to have the mandatory internships. In some, there are compulsory thesis, and in some, there are practical projects. So if you want to choose the university, these are also the main topics that you need to consider, which helps you prepare for the courses, because it's a 2 year course, so you need to have a little bit of pre-planning to get through it.
Absolutely. And I think that these are very important factors. One question to both of you on top of this. I mean, if now let us imagine a student is aspiring to come to Germany, is there any central website or resource from there where they can see which all universities are there and what offers are they giving, or is it mainly based on Google search that people search on Google? And so how did it work for you in that sense? Charu, maybe you would like to add something?
So for definitely you can Google universities in Germany and there would be lists of it. But I would suggest that you only use it as an anchor to see which universities actually exist physically. And then the best way is to visit the official website of the university itself. On each university's website, in detail, all the informations are provided regarding what the curriculum is, what are the prerequisites, and specifically what is the deadline, what are the documents required, and what is the application procedure. There is no other source of proof. So what is given on the university's website, that is the only thing that you need to abide by. Once I would suggest for any student who is looking to come here and study and is in the process of shortlisting the university, they need to prioritize honestly courses first, universities later. Because in Germany, there is a rule that getting a degree is no guarantee that you will get a job because we don't have any campus placements here. So what you learn, the skills that you acquire, that's based upon your course and how good of a grasp you have over the education that you have gone through, is the only fodder that will feed into your professional journey. So the emphasis needs to be that they go through the courses on these universities' websites and then come to the conclusion that, okay, I want to study X course from a university and not the other way around that I want to go to this university and study this course.
Right. And a very important factor there, right? I mean, as you mentioned, very important part, and I would like to repeat it again, no campus placements as we are normally used to in India, right?
Yeah.
So no campus placements, which means your course and your skill set is the primary driver to get you a job after your post-graduation course. And that is why, very rightly said, Charu, course content is the driving factor and not the name of the university from where you are coming. So please consider it accordingly. Akash, anything you would like to add?
Uh, as Charu mentioned, it is quite important, but still there are some public and private platform from where you can apply through uh, multiple university from a single platform. So it would be a little bit easier to handle all the admission, because if you are applying to several university, then you need to uh, provide various documents, and you need to keep track of every admission process, where it stop, or whether it is accepted, or what is the current status. So there are also some private and public platform which is quite helpful through that, and in some cases but you need to send them a physical document, so it will also help with that the process for the several of the university. And again, but Taru said that all the information provided on the platform is also dependent on the university website. So you also need to keep track of the university websites, because that is the original source of information. If something come on based on urgency, or is there any changes which might not be available on the platform, but you also need to keep track of the university websites.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for sharing those details. And one thing I would also like to add here is there are a lot of student associations that have been formed in Germany. So anybody who is now aspiring to come to Germany for higher studies can also get in touch with these student associations. I mean, if you want to know more about it, you can visit our website, apnafrankfurt.de, or even get in touch with us through email, admin@apnafrankfurt.de, and we will definitely be happy to share some of that information with you when you're looking for it, right? So then let's move on to the next question. So now let's say you have got your visa, you have arrived in Germany and your first day in Germany. How was your experience? What were the challenges that you faced? Akash, let's start with you on that one.
Yeah, definitely. So it's certainly new environment, new people, new infrastructure. So first of all, it was quite astonishing for me after landing into the Germany, and as soon as I get out of the airport, it's very good air, and you can see the nice infrastructure as well. Uh, the public transportation is quite good here, and there are several modes of transportation available here. But the main thing a little bit difficult was for me that all the informations provided on the roads or everywhere, mainly it was in German. So if you have a little bit of knowledge of German, then it would be easier. If someone came to pick you up from airport, it helps. But if you have a little bit knowledge of the German, it helps quite. And after that, you need to have, if you have accommodation in the city, or if you are traveling further from the city where you landed, it also important that you have a sufficient time during the transition, because sometime international arrival might take a little bit longer, and so you need to have a little bit of gap in between the next trip, so you are well prepared for that. Because I also heard some cases where people miss the second connection, and yet because they are new to the places, they don't have any kind of help for them. That's how I've also heard some cases that people suffers. So it is quite important that you have a sufficient transition period during your trip.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Charu, you would like to add something?
Yes, so I would like to provide my insights in phases. So let's say that a student does get their visa and they plan to come here. One thing would be that they reach out to the airline, because some airlines allow students one extra piece of baggage, um, which is honestly really helpful, because the first time they're coming here, it's really a race as to what to put in and what to discard. And you can reach out to various airlines, which airline allows this, and then this can help you at least have a little bit more space to bring your belongings in. Secondly, one good thing is to reach out to people or student associations here, and they can come to the airport to receive you and show you around the city for the first time. We do it. So even now, I have passed now my educational phase, but we still do it for students who are coming here. So this is of course good. But the best thing is that when you do come here, and I wish I would have done it as well, that you learn the language a little bit so that you can do at least basic communication, how to take the train, how to get the tickets, where is what, and so on. And the other part then is when you're here and you're in the first couple of days, the battle of bureaucracy starts. And you need to get familiarized with all of the bureaucratic things that you need to go through, how you need to get your blocked account unblocked so that you can start using that money, how to go about finding an accommodation, which is an entirely very huge topic in itself. Then how to register yourself, and how to go about the university and courses. For this, I would always suggest to get in touch with any of the alumni or any of the seniors from your university, and or talk to ASTA. This is also a student's body in the university that can help and guide you through all of these procedures. So these are the starting points that a person should take care of when they're here. So this will make their experience a little bit better.
Thank you. Very well summarized, I would say, both of you. And one of the important factors is definitely the language factor, right? I mean, I also remember back in 2007 when I first landed in Germany. It's a very nice place, but I mean, communicating with the local people is important, and knowing the language is definitely a game changer in that front. So having the knowledge of basic German language is definitely going to help you from day one, integrating faster and also understanding the norms around, right? And student associations that are here, for example, are doing a marvelous job in helping also the new students integrating with the new system, and also helping them finding accommodation and whatever bureaucratic steps that needs to be taken, right? So once again, shout out to all those associations running out there and helping the people, and they are doing a marvelous job, right? So with that, let me move to my next question. Now, about survival in Germany. I mean, of course, one needs to work and earn some money to survive while you are in Germany itself. So, how was your experience to find a job during your studies and even post studies in that sense? Charu, would you like to share something?
Uh, yeah, so for a student, survival comes in two parts. So one is surviving the university, and one is surviving outside of the university. So when it comes to surviving the university part of your life, one thing that I would really recommend to all of the prospective students, get onto the accommodation search as fast as possible. It is really difficult to find place to live with a permanent contract. And the more time you do not have that, the longer time that you do not have that, you are kind of in a mental state where that is your first priority and your studies take your second priority. So you kind of are not able to give your 100% to your first semester, and that kind of prolongs your studies. So I would suggest, firstly, to survive the university, focus on your accommodation, get your accommodation as soon as possible, and then put all in your efforts on your education. Regarding survival in general, outside of university and so on, the most important part is, and I underline it with a lot of confidence, that in Germany, you need to work with your education. So this is a very common norm here that students work 20 hours a week. This helps supplement their income here from apart from the block grant. So they use this to give out their rents or pay out their tuition fee or whatever. But the most important part, and why this is important for survival, is that the 20 hours that you work also accounts when you are actually looking for a job after your education. Because during this time, not only were you studying at the university, you were also building a real-time skills. You're working in a business environment, you kind of get used to how the work-life culture is and how you're supposed to be in an office here, how the communication goes and all of the setup around that. So this is a very important survival thing that you should work. Um, it doesn't matter if it is in an office or if it is in your domain, even if it is an odd job, it's good enough. So you should definitely work at the same time that you're studying. And doing an internship also comes under the same umbrella. And it really counts to your profile when you apply for a job after your graduation.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Very important topics that you mentioned in there. But I would like to bring in Akash now. Akash, anything you would like to add?
Yes, as Charu mentioned, the first step would be to get the city registration because this would be considered as the base step. It will create a chain reaction. You get your social insurance number, you get your tax number, and from that point of on, you can look for a job. If you don't have the city registration, you cannot look for the job. And if you delay your accommodation and getting the city registration, it will also delay uh, the starting of your jobs, which will also made a quite a huge impact on on your part financially, because as you know that for the longer period you are unemployed, it will create a mental pressure on you and you cannot focus on your study. So it is quite important that you find accommodation, and I would also suggest that uh, during application process, you can also apply for the jobs as well. So if you have a time before coming to the Germany, you can at least start applying to the university so you can get a little bit of time before arriving in Germany. So because normally job procedure takes quite long time.
Mhm.
So even to consider the position, and after getting through the first step, you get through the interview, and after that you get the job letter. So it is a quite long process. So as soon as you start, you can start working. So if you think that after coming to Germany, you start looking for a job, then it will take maybe at least a month. So minimum, if it is not quite urgent, then I would say the average time period should be the month. It may take longer than that, and it may take less in some cases. So you need to be prepared for that. So you need to have a little bit of, if you are prepared early, then you can skip this phase.
Yeah.
And there are quite a lot of opportunity for the students in various fields. As I also, after I arrived here in Frankfurt, so at that time I did not aware of this kind of situation. So because sometimes people thinks that as soon as I have the everything, then I'll start preparing. But instead of that, I suggest that you start applying. If you have a previous experience in a home country or in somewhere, if you have done some internships, then if you have done something extraordinary during your bachelor, then also you can apply directly, and companies are hiring people like that. And on the contract basis, that as soon as you arrive in Germany, your contract will get started.
Yeah.
So
And
it will
Charu,
reduce quite headache.
thank you. Thank you very much, Akash, for sharing that. Charu, I guess you want to add something.
Yes, so because me and Akash both spoke about this fact that contributes to survival is finding an accommodation. I really want to make this very clear to anybody who is searching for an accommodation, not to make payment beforehand. You have visited the property and signed the contract. We hear it every month. Some or the other cases where students were scammed out of their money, which they paid as rent because they thought the other person is offering a place to live. We have had so many people lose a huge amount of money, thousands of euros, because of course finding an accommodation is difficult and they fall for these scams. So the standard procedure is that you apply and they ask you to visit. And then you go to the property, you see the place where you will be living, you sign a formal contract, and then only you provide any money transfer. There is an exception to this, and the exception is if you apply to a student dormitory, you can find a list of student dormitories as well. If there is an offer made by these student dormitories, then it is all right to pay the money. How do you check if the dormitory is, let's say, an authentic one? On every student dormitory page, there is an impressum. Impressum tells their legal information, where they are registered, what is their legal registered information that claims their authenticity. And this is a law that they need to provide this impressum. So if they are offered an opportunity to stay in one of the accommodations from these dorms, it's okay to pay the money beforehand. But anything else that you find, flat shares, apartments, if anybody is saying, hey, we have an apartment to offer, but we moved out from here, you can pay the money, and I don't know, Trivago or some other entity will handle this process. It's a scam. Don't pay any money for accommodation until and unless you actually visit and sign the contract.
Yeah, and thank you. Thank you for sharing it. And see, accommodation is one of the basic needs one needs to take care of. So that is why, as Charu also earlier mentioned, the first thing that you should take care of, but be careful. And I think getting support from experienced people around is always the good way of making sure that you are not falling into any kind of a trap. And in that sense, also student associations, the leads definitely provide you the right information to make the right decision in that sense. Then, I mean, once you have the accommodation, city registration was mentioned. I like to elaborate a little bit there. There is a legal responsibility. If you're going to stay in Germany, you need to register yourself with the city authority, and this is called city registration. So you do the city registration, giving them the address where you are staying so that they know that this person is staying at this place. And this is the process of city registration. It takes like few hours if you go to an institute and then simply register yourself. Once you have registered, then the education part comes in, seeking the job comes in. 20 hours per week job was also mentioned, which is an important part. Please do make use of this. As Charu mentioned, it's not just about earning the money during your studies, which definitely helps you, but also helps you to find a job post you have completed your studies. Very important factor, gives you also to the exposure that you need to stay in Germany to also understand how things work here. So that is why very important part, make use of this. And so this is what you guys mentioned, and thank you. Thank you for sharing this. With that, let me move to my next question for you. What was and is your motivation for a long-term stay in Germany? What motivated you to decide for it? Akash?
Yeah. So the working structure here is quite a factor to be here, because yet I have not worked full time, but even during the part times, the working culture, the Monday to Friday, it's quite good. Then you can dedicate your Saturday and Sunday on your personal time, or if you have family, then you can have a family bonding time as well. And certainly the working environment is quite good here. Uh, it also depends on your employer. If you can work remotely or hybrid, you can work across the Schengen part of the Europe, which is also quite a good opportunity for you. You can also travel with your job.
Yeah.
So, and the financial implications are also good here. You can get a very good pay for your full-time studies. So that is the main factors that I consider, that the work-life balance is quite good here.
Thank you. Thank you, Akash. Sharu?
Well, for me, motivation comes from, of course, the social part and the economical part. So let's talk about the economical part first. So I know that the salaries as compared to US and other parts of the world, Singapore and so on, are not that high, but I believe that they are not so low either. So the thing is, we are somewhere, I would say, the 70% mark. I believe that the salaries that you get here for the jobs that you're doing, it's really very good, and you're able to save a good part and build your own investments and so on. Um, the other part that I really like about working here is the work-life culture. So work is just considered a part of your life, and then there are the things that comes along with it. People have hobbies, they have clubs and groups that they go to after their work, and here the private time is considered very holy, very sacred. So nobody asks you to do overtime when it is apart from certain cases with go lives and whatnot. But this is not the norm. So we have a very good, healthy work-life balance here. And the other part then comes about the social aspect of it. So for me, it really is a bigger factor of, so for what we pay to the government, we get really a good amount of it back. So we have, like for a woman, there is a good clauses of maternity payments, maternity leave, sorry. And free education, childcare opportunities for young children. When a woman has to go back to working, so the transition is a little bit easier. So from a societal perspective as well, Germany is a very good choice. We have a healthy environment here. Um, People are really trying to embrace the whole intercultural, international mix of people from different diversities, different cultures, different countries coming together. So it's a really vibrant place to plan your future in, so as to say, apart from your work. So for me, these factors really drive the motivation to stay here long term.
Thank you. And very important factors that you mentioned, actually. And you might have seen my head nodding in yes, because I definitely resonate with all what you said here. Because I mean, the work-life balance is definitely an important factor here, right? I mean, working structure about job security when we talk about, right?
Yes.
So that is also an important part. Flexibility of work, Akash, you mentioned there as well. I mean, depending upon your contract there, but still the employers are really like flexible in understanding your situation. That has been my experience as well till now. So this is really important factor to mention. Of course, the pay grade is another factor. As you said, Charu, it might not be compared to what you get in US, but also, I mean, your cost of living is a factor that people should consider. So that is also a factor that comes in. So definitely plays into that part. And yes, the social factors, of course, comes on top. So maternity leave, also parental leave,
Mm-hmm.
is a factor where also fathers, new fathers are also now given that opportunity that they can take the leave and also get partially paid as compared to their salary. So that is an important factor. The job and economical factor, as well as one thing I would like to add is the health security, the health insurance factor that you have here, right? So that is also an important factor which makes Germany an attractive place to think of being the place for you to live here longer. So thank you. Thank you for sharing this part. Now, let me move to my last question for you. Well, if you have to tell someone who is an aspirant who is thinking for higher studies to Germany, what would you like to tell that person today? Charu, we start with you.
Well, I would like to start with the pitfalls that I had in my journey. So, the one thing that I would encourage with absolutely the utmost gusto that I can is learn German. Please learn German and please learn German. So when you do not know the language, you are somewhere at a disadvantage as compared to your peers. Whether you're applying for an accommodation to live in, whether you are applying for an internship, whether you are applying for a full-time job. And of course, integration. It is not a piece of cake. So I would encourage every student who comes to Germany to have at least B1. That's a good place to start. And then when you come here at the university, most universities offer free language courses to students. So by the time you come here, you already have a B1 language. You start going to the university, you still get semesters there. You are able to finish at least B2 C1, and that does not cost you. But once you graduate and you have to actually go enroll yourself to a language school, you have to pay a huge amount to study the same thing. So let's be smart about our options. Any student who comes here, please, I know that you would say, oh, I'm not even accepted there. I don't know if I'll go and whatnot. But, if you have made up your mind that Germany is the place for you, language should be the utmost priority.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Akash?
Yeah, as Charu mentioned, the language is quite important. And from my personal experience, finding an accommodation, getting a head on, it's also quite important because for me, it took me 3 months after coming to Germany to find an accommodation. So it will impact financially on you. It will create a mental pressure on you, and until and unless you get the accommodation, you cannot find a job. So if I had a time machine, I would tell my younger self that to prepare early on, so you can get a fully planned journey to the Germany. So as soon as you arrive in Germany, you can start as soon as possible. You can start finding a job opportunity and working uh, companies. So it would be a quite good thing. And as Charu mentioned, the German language is quite important because it not only helps you socially, but it will also open up some opportunity for you in a working capacity, and as well as in the choosing the universities, because not every university has courses in English, because there are some courses which required certain level of German proficiency, and there are some universities which provide completely German courses. So if you have a German knowledge, then the range of your university will also increase, and it will also help with the job opportunity, and social interaction will also be quite helpful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I mean, let's put one fact on the table. If you now decide to come to Germany and study here and also potentially live here for a longer period of time, learning the local language is going to be a game changer. And the heads up that you have on this one, even if you do it before coming to Germany, I mean, it's going to make your journey easier and smoother in that sense. And as Charu mentioned, learning German language to level B1 is a recommendation that also I would give to my viewers and listeners, because this would definitely help you in the long run. Also, I mean, the point that was mentioned was about integration, where it's not just about now coming here and settling down here, but it's also understanding lifestyle here, how things are done basically. And for that, I would say get support from the people, from your seniors, from the student associations, from your network in that sense. And also Apna Frankfurt plays a role in there as well. We are sharing the required information with the newcomers. So there, get that information, get that knowledge that is needed so that you start feeling at home. And that is what Apna Frankfurt also stands for. So we share information with all of you to feel at home. So also make use of this offering that we do. And another important part, accommodation. Yes, that is a challenge. We need to accept it. And then you need to also prepare to deal with that challenge in that manner as well, right? So prepare yourself. Accommodation is going to be a challenge. Take a heads up on that one. Start connecting with people also while you are applying for universities, probably, so that you can take a heads up and you can get the right accommodation. And as Charu had also earlier mentioned, get the right help so that you do not fall into those pitfalls related to accommodation as well. One recommendation from my side, network. Network is an important part while you are in Germany. I mean, connect with people. Connect with people, share information, learn, practice what you're learning new, and then it's kind of a cycle, right? You keep connecting, you keep learning, you keep practicing, and then you get integrated in that sense. So integration will always come from information, always come from your network. So do connect with people, do learn, and do practice. That's what I would say. Well, with that, I would like to thank both of you for taking out the time for us today. We hope the information that you provided is very, very useful for our viewers and listeners, and many will take the best use of it. Thank you, Charu. Thank you, Akash. And for the viewers and listeners, well, we at Apna Frankfurt, we want to conduct more such talks with experts on topic that are relevant for you. So please reach out to us with your ask and suggestions on what topics we should talk about via our website apnafrankfurt.de, or write us an email to admin@apnafrankfurt.de, or even reach out to us via our social media, Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp. We will be back soon with another talk session very soon with all of you. Till then, everyone stay happy, stay healthy, take care, and bye-bye. Namaskar.
Radio Apna Frankfurt.